Welcome back to the political science class, session 2 of the day. In the morning session, we discussed about the 73rd and 74th Amendment and the separate rules and regulations for the tribal people in India to protect the diversity. Okay, clear? And two more topics are there for us to complete this chapter. That is, one is state election commissioners and the state finance commission. Okay, state election commission and the state finance commission. Okay, so please write down the state election commission. The state election commission. So it is something related with the local government elections. Okay, state election commission is appointed by the state government. Appointed by the state government. Appointed by the state government. Responsible for conducting elections to the Panchayati Raj institutions. Responsible for conducting elections to the Panchayati Raj institutions. Responsible for conducting elections for the Panchayati Raj institutions. Third point, the office of the state election commissioner. The office of the state election commissioner. The office of the state election commissioner is autonomous. Is autonomous. 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 Like the election commissioner of India. Like the election commissioner of India. So some special powers are there for the state election commissioner. Okay, this autonomous. Okay, no political parties are able to control or giving suggestions to this election commission. Okay, so the second point is repeated here. The office of the state election commissioner is autonomous, like the election commissioner of India. Last and final point in this particular concept. The state election commissioner is an independent officer. The state election commissioner is an independent officer. Independent officer and is not linked to the election commission of India. The election commission of India. Okay, so independent charges are there for the state election commissioner. Okay, state election commissioner. Okay. So Kevin, could you read all those points?
Yes, sir. I got these 2 points.
Read that.
So the office of the state election commissioner is autonomous, like the state, Indian election commissioner, and the state election commissioner is an independent officer and is not linked to the election commissioner of India.
Okay, basically speaking, so the election commission of the state is not controlled by the India's election commission. Okay, clear. Next one, state finance commission. State finance commission. State finance commission. Okay, so state finance commission related with the financial affairs of the local governments. Okay, so first point, appointed by the state government once in 5 years. Appointed by the state government once in 5 years. So the tenure of the finance commission is 5 years. Okay, so appointed by the state government once in 5 years. Second point, examine examine the financial position of the local governments in the state. The local governments in the state. The local governments in the state. Last and final point. Also review the distribution of revenues. Also review the distribution of revenues. Also review the distribution of revenues between the state and the local governments. Between the states and the local governments. On the one hand, on the one hand, and between the rural and urban local governments on the other, and between the rural and urban local governments on the other, okay. So
Sir,
repeating
can
all
you
these 3
repeat
points.
this?
Yeah, repeating the last point. Also review the distribution of revenues between the state and the local governments on the one hand, and between rural and urban local governments on the other. Okay, so repeating all these 3 points for one more time. Appointed by the state government once in 5 years, that's what the State Finance Commission. Okay, examine the financial position of the local governments in the states, the state. Last point, also review the distribution of revenues between the state and the local governments on one hand, and the rural and urban governments in the other hand. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so these are the last 2 topics that what we want to discuss. One is the State Election Commission and the State Finance Commission. Okay, basic election commission is to conduct elections for the local self administration or local bodies, and the State Finance Commission is to observe the financial matters of the local self governments. Okay, so 73rd amendment we discussed. Okay, now it is the 74th amendment. 74th amendment. So 73rd amendment is connected with or related with what is that? The village panchayat, block panchayat, and a district panchayat. Okay, panchayati raj system. Panchayati raj system. And the 74th amendment, what is that? Is that panchayati raj system? 74th amendment. Tell me. What is the 74th amendment?
Also the rural urban areas.
Urban area. So this is basically termed as the NAGARAPALIKA. What is that? NAGARAPALIKA. Nagar means cities there basically. Okay, so NAGARAPALIKA system for the municipalities. Okay, so you please observe that in your textbook. You can see the State Finance Commission and State Election Commission. Okay, so observe here. I'll show you. Okay, here it is. The State Election Commissioners and the State Finance Commission. Okay, please observe in your textbook, all of you, please mark that important points that already wrote there. The state government is required to appoint a state election commissioner, a particular individual. Can you tell me who is the present election commissioner of Kerala? No idea? Present election commissioner of Kerala. Find out the name. Okay. Write as a homework. Find out the name of the present chief election commissioner. Election commissioner of Kerala. Okay. So, who would be responsible for conducting elections to the Panchayati Raj institutions? Okay, so State Election Commissioner and the State Election Commission is responsible to conducting elections in the Panchayati Raj institutions, right? Okay, so next to second point. Earlier, this task was performed by the state administration, which was under the control of the state government. So before the introduction of the State Election Commissioner or Commission, the state administrative unit conducted the elections for the local self-government. But nowadays it is not like that. It is the State Election Commissioner, and the commission is there to conduct election. Now the office of the State Election Commissioner is autonomous, like the Election Commissioner of India. So some special powers are there. They are not under the control of any government, basically speaking. So no political parties are able to control them. It is autonomous. Okay, special powers are there. Judicial powers are there for that commission. Okay. However, the State Election Commission is an independent officer and is not linked to, nor is the officer under the control of the Election Commission of India. So this office is, or Election Commission, State Election Commission's office is not connected with or not linked with the Election Commission of or Election Commission of India, Okay, or the Election Commission of India is unable to control the state election commissioner, right? Clear or not? So that all about the state election commissioners. Clear? Okay, so what is that? What is the importance here? It is state election commissioner who conducting elections for the local self-government. Clear or not? Before the introduction of the state election commissioner, it was the state administrative unit. They conducted the elections for the local bodies. Okay, but after the 73rd and the 74th amendment, these are state election commissioner who conducting elections there. All right. At the same time, you have to understand one more thing. What is that? Okay, the state election commissioner's office is not linked with India's election commission, or this office is not controlled by election commission of India, election commission of India. So please keep these ideas in your mind. Okay, next one, state finance commission, state finance commission. So all these points are there in your notes there, right? Okay, state finance commission. Next one. The state government is also required to appoint a state finance commission once in 5 years. Is there any or not, right? This first point. Okay, so the state finance commission is basically appointing or appoint. So far, it's appointed by the state legislature, basically. Okay, state finance commission appointed by the state government. The commission would examine the financial position of the local governments in the state. Okay, the responsibility of the State Finance Commission is nothing but to observe the financial affairs or financial matters of local self-governments. It would also review the distribution of revenue. I mean, the taxation, basically the money collected or collecting by, or the revenue collecting by this local self-government through different ways, right? Okay, through taxation, we know that, right? Or different kinds of cesses. Basically, this local self-governments will collect a revenue. Okay, and the distribution of revenues between the state and the local government. So as per the 73rd amendment, a particular share of income that made by the state government should be allocated or provided to the local governments. Clear? A percentage. Okay, because they also have some expenses, right? So to meet that expenses, basically the state government want to support the local governments. Okay, on the one hand, and between rural and urban local governments on the other. And always it will compare the revenue that collected by the rural area and urban area. Okay, always will make a comparison. And if any problems are there or any imbalances are there, it's the responsibility of the State Finance Commission to solve such kind of issues there. This innovation ensures that allocation of funds to the rural local governments will not be a political matter. So giving adequate importance for the local self-government. So for example, the state government is by the, for example, in Kerala, this LDF. State government is by the LDF, and the local self-government will think that it is by the UDF. Okay. So support that providing by the LDF government for the UDF local self-government may be minimum, right? Clear or not? Okay, so it's maybe a political issue, Okay, so no political parties are interested to support their rival parties, So, but these commissions basically helping them, right or not? Okay, beyond the limits of this political diversities, basically this kind of government organizations or organizations with some special powers is to help this kind of local self-governments. Is that clear for you? Okay, so now we are going to the 74th Amendment. 74th Amendment termed as the NAGARAPALIKA. Okay, what is that? The NAGARAPALIKA system. So please write down the NAGARAPALIKA system. Please write down 74th Amendment. 74th Amendment. As a caption, heading 74th Amendment. First point, dealt with the urban local bodies or nagarpalikas. Dealt with the urban local bodies or nagarpalikas. Dealt with the urban local bodies or nagarpalikas. So nagarpalika, 74th amendment is strictly connected with urban administration, urban local self administration. Okay. Second point, in many ways, I think you already wrote these points. Please check that 73rd amendment and 74th amendment is already completed. I think so. Please check that. So second point, in many ways, the 74th Amendment is a repetition of the 73rd Amendment. In many ways, the 74th Amendment is a repetition of the 73rd Amendment. It's a repetition of the 73rd Amendment. Except that is applied to the urban areas. Except that is applied to the urban areas. Urban areas. Repeating second point. In many ways, the 74th Amendment is a repetition of the 73rd Amendment, except that is applicable for or applies for the towns or the cities or urban areas. Okay, that's it. Next point. All the provisions of the 73rd Amendment, all the provisions of the 73rd Amendment, all the provisions of the 73rd Amendment, all the provisions of the 73rd Amendment relating to direct elections, relating to direct elections, relating to direct elections, related to direct elections, comma, reservations, comma, transfer of subjects, transfer of subjects, comma, state election commission, and state finance commission, and state finance commission, are incorporated by, in the 74th Amendment, are incorporated in the 74th Amendment, are incorporated in the 74th Amendment, also, 74th Amendment also, thus apply to Nagarapalikas, thus apply to Nagarapalikas, thus apply to Nagarapalikas, thus apply to Nagarapalikas. Last point, the Constitution also mandated, mandated, mandated the transfer of a list of functions, the transfer of a list of functions, the transfer of a list of functions from the state government, to the urban local bodies, to the urban local bodies. These functions have been listed, these functions have been listed in the 11th schedule of the Constitution, the 11th schedule of the Constitution, the 11th schedule of the Constitution. Okay, so back to the textbook. You can see here the conclusion. So almost all the things we discussed. Okay, so 73rd and 74th Amendment discussed already. So conclusion is here. So related with the local self-government, this experience suggests that local governments continue to be agencies implementing the welfare and development schemes of the central and state government. So local self-governments are the governments basically made to introduce or made to implement the programs and policies that made by the state and the central governments. Okay, so giving more power to the local government means that we should be prepared for a real decentralization of power. Okay, so what is the decentralization of the power? Not only a group of people, okay, clear. Everyone in the country want to enjoy the power. Everyone in the country want to enjoy the power. That's called to be decentralization of power. Or at least a number of people wanted to participate in the decision making. Participate in the decision making. That is basically termed as decentralization. Okay, opposite of a centralization. Okay. Ultimately, democracy means that power should be shared by the people. People in the villages and the urban localities must have the power to decide what policies and programs they want to adopt. Okay, clear. So people also wanted to participate in the decision making. Already we know that Gram Sabha. Okay. In some areas, basically the Gram Samiti or the village administrative body want to take the consent of the Gram Sabhas to do something in that particular region there. Basically, in the tribal regions there. So giving more importance to the people. Okay, in democracy, it's a kind of direct democracy we can say. People in the villages and urban localities must have the power to decide what policies and programs they want to adopt. As you have studied earlier, democracy means decentralization of power and giving more and more power to the people. Okay, clear? More and more power to whom? The people. That's what the importance of local self-government. Okay, the laws about the local governments are an important steps in the direction of democratization, but the true test of democracy is not merely in the legal provisions, but the practice of those provisions there. Okay, so not only the rules and regulations that existing in the constitution, but we have to practice that. Clear or not? Understand? So there are numerous rules and regulations are in the constitution. Clear or not? So the rules and regulations just existing in the paper that may not change. Okay, they may not create any change in the society. So you have to practice it. Clear or not? So example, smoking is prohibited. Smoking is prohibited, but no one is enforcing that. What will happen? It will remain as a law. Clear or not? There is no fine. Okay, or there is no penalty by the police department or the executive. The people will continue the same there. So instead of just keeping these laws are just laws, we have to practice it. Want to give more powers to the people. Okay, people's participation is necessary. Clear? Understand? So that's what the local self-government, Hope these ideas are clear for you people. So what we learned in this chapter, we learned about the importance of decentralization of power. Okay, so a large country like India, a diversified country it is. Okay, different groups of people are there. Okay, vast country it is. So the central and state governments are sometimes are unable to rule or administrate the people in a positive way almost. Clear or not? No chances are there. Okay, some problems they will face. Definitely the state and central government will face some problems to give more importance to the people and their ideas. Okay, so basically Lord Ripon, we know that at the time of the British rule, they introduced this system, basically termed as the local boards there. So after independence, most of the Congress party leaders, basically Jawaharlal Nehru, also against this rule. I mean, this particular system. Okay, Panchayati Raj system. Okay, as per their viewpoints, this Panchayati Raj system will give more powers to the local area. It will lead to the rise of regionalism. Okay, rise of regionalism. One locality people will not accept the ideas of the government and they will turn against the government. Okay, that's what the comment that made by the Congress party and the Jawaharlal Nehru at that time. But later they came to know that it is very important. Local administration is important. The other governments, okay, after Jawaharlal Nehru, they started adopting this policy, giving more importance for a local self-government. All right. Okay. As per that, the two changes that made in the constitution, clear, around the 1990s, that's called to be the 73rd Amendment and the 74th Amendment. One is related with the local self-administration in the rural area, other is related with the local self-administration in the urban area. Okay, one is the Panchayati Raj system, the other is the Nagarapalika system there. All right. Okay. And we studied about as per this particular amendment, there are a number of subjects that shifted from the powers of the state government to the local self-government. Okay, as per the 11th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Clear? Clear? 243G, Article 243G. Number of provisions are there, nearly 29 subjects are there. It is controlling by the local self-governments. And these local self-governments give more importance to the development of women and socially backward people like the SCs and STs. SCs and STs through reservations. Okay. And we studied about the election procedure for the local self-government and the reservation for the local self-government related with the 73rd and the 74th amendments. Clear? Clear? Yes or no? All these ideas are clear for you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. And we discussed about finally we discussed about state election commission and the state finance commission to support this local self governments. Local self governments. Okay. Hope these ideas are clear for you people. Notes are there with you. Okay. Any assistance you need, so you can inform me. I will send the notes again. Okay. So it is very important to learn the things in the proper way there. Okay. Clear or not? So next class we start a new lesson. Okay, new lesson from the same textbook only. Okay, so be ready for that. If it is possible, please read the 1 or 2 pages of that particular chapter. Okay, the new lesson. I will tell you the name. I will message that in the class group. Okay, so please read that. Okay, and the notes also I will upload there. Okay, Kevin Kosi.